my God, did something blow up? Nope. I've tried to fix it. Alright, so let me show you where I'm at. Well, I got my airbox thing apart. Got that sensor out. That one on the bottom, I don't know how that one comes out, so I'll have to be careful with that one, but that's fine there. Just gotta be careful with the sensor on the bottom. A little dirtier than I thought, but not that bad. That's actually not a bad looking. That's probably relatively new, like new as in a couple of years. So I'll clean that out. Always good to clean these things out a couple of times a year. I'll leave that in there for now. Maybe I should bring it to the basement, keep it clean. There's my clamp. Don't lose this clamp. Put things back as you take them apart. Upper hose, lower hose. Don't mix it up. I'm gonna have to start before I go any further. I'm gonna have to start getting my marking tape and stuff like that, because you'll remember by the following week, but 6 months down the road you won't. And you'll be like, did I put this hose in the right place? And I think that hose might have a leak in it, so I'm gonna have to check all the vacuum hoses. That probably has more to do with your leakage than not. As I suspect, sorry I forgot to give you the graphic warning, but as I suspected, it's pretty crudgy in there, but it's on the backside that gets really bad. So, but we'll see what happens when I clean that up. Pretty nasty looking throttle body. Yeah, it's not that bad. I've seen worse, but you can definitely see around the edges there where it's really, you know, that's going to be sticking and stuff like that. So, yeah. In fact, if I can, I don't know if it'll work. I'm gonna try. There's gonna be a lot of my videos are gonna have a lot of me arguing with myself, so don't worry about that. Yeah, I always have to make decisions. Decisions. And I can almost get into my fuel rail, but I can't because I have to remove that big ass thing to get into the fuel rail so I can get into my spark plugs. Stupid spark plugs. All that to get that spark. Like, really, Ford? Really? I like Ford. Don't get me wrong, I love Fords, but really, Ford? You hadn't like put everything on top of the spark plugs? Really? I can't even see the darn spark plugs. I can't even see them. They're all alone in there. They're all alone. Yeah, so I already had the hood come down on me once, right in the back. That is like perfectly positioned to hit you right in the spine. Yeah, I got eaten by my own truck. Yeah. And I only got one cut, just a little one. I don't know if you can see it. It counts. I only broke one bolt and one cut. So far, not a bad day. Not a bad day. I gotta clean all this. So I can see most of my coils now. I can see my fuel injectors. I gotta take my fuel injectors apart, and I gotta clean them all, and it's gonna run so good. Yeah, because I mean, you see all this corrosion on the outside of the engine. It's not usually as bad on the inside of the engine, but you do get that shit on the inside of the engine when a vehicle sits. Oh, I'm not doing that to myself again. Stop doing that. All right, beating myself up here. Yeah, so I got to get in here with a rag and just clean stuff up. I just got to clean stuff. That's all I got to do. So I'm going to get this throttle body off. Not today. I am going to do one more attempt to start it. I'll have to hook up the mass airflow and then I'll have to put all that crap back together. You what? Well, I'll just put it together loosely. Just loosely. But yeah, so I want to clean this. Change all those coil packs. My dad bought some. My dad and my uncle, before my uncle passed, my uncle said he thought it was one of the coils was done, or the plugs. He wasn't sure, but my dad went ahead and after my uncle passed, my dad went ahead and ordered up these new coils, these nice yellow ones, which will actually stick with the theme of the truck if I ever get the paint job to do what I want. And he also bought new plugs, which I will review inside because they're still in the house. But we put that one in. We tested it. My dad attempted to try to replace one coil pack in here, and what he found out that it was not easy to get in here. And once he realized how much work it was, he didn't want the truck anymore. He's like, I can't deal with all this. This is definitely a patient man's truck. All this stuff, but I mean, all mechanic work is like that anyway. You know, you pick something, a Ford Chev, a Toyota Tundra, you know, a Dodge Ram. It doesn't really matter. You're going to find stuff that just doesn't. What the hell were they thinking? You know, like I'm sure there's engineers that do stuff, like engineer stuff, just for shits and giggles to see how frustrated people will get. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why there are people like that on the planet, but there are. And yeah, and every vehicle will have it. So you have to just kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? So is one vehicle better than the other? Not necessarily. But what happens with old vehicles like this, like, believe it or not, as bad as this looks, this vehicle is actually in good shape for its age, because whoever had it, let me look at the hood. It has been repaired a little bit, but you know, for the most part, it has been, you know, like, again, there's hardly any rust in there. The firewall's still pretty good. There's rust on like parts like that, but it's one of those things that looks worse than what it is a lot of times. What I'm more concerned about is the frame. The box and the body is excellent on this, but I'm more concerned about the frame and stuff like that and the motor mounts. But it'll be a long time before I get down there, but I'll be spraying a lot of brackets and stuff in the process. Sometimes, you know, you just keep spraying stuff and cleaning stuff. Get that in. That's an injector right there. So you see, like, to get into these injectors to clean them, you see all the, you know, there's crud there too. There's crud there too. But as a, you know, clean as you go. I mean, this has probably never been done. It's probably never been cleaned, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of crazy things I'm going to have to do here. The throttle body is going to come off hopefully fairly easy. I don't want to jinx myself yet, you know, like even before I get to it. But I got to just start cleaning up in here just so I can see what I'm looking at. And before I go any further, maybe I can get some gas in it. And if I can, maybe it'll start again. Then I can run it. But I want to get it down to the point where when I run it, I'm going to run it to, you know, to get the plugs out, to heat up the engine so I can get the plugs out. But that sounds like it might be a bigger task than not. So it really depends on how good those plugs are, or how seized in those plugs are, right? So if they're fused into the head, I'm going to be probably taking the heads off of this thing anyway and have to re-helicoil everything. I mean, I'm going to do all the work myself. I'm not going to pay a mechanic to do this. I mean, it would cost me $1 million to do it that way. But that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that. I'm going to try something. I don't know if it'll work, but how about this? What I'm going to do is find a heavy object, like my hammer. Okay, and I don't know if it'll work or not, but maybe. You know, you're not going to work, are you? You're not going to. Don't hit the door. No. I need something heavier. But I need 2 of me, I really do. My goal, there's a brick around here somewhere, but it's under the snow. So what I was going to do is see if I can keep the throttle body open so I can see inside it, just to see the other side. Now, you say just move it with your hand. That's a big no-no, apparently. When you're cleaning these things, when you do get to the point where you're going to be cleaning these things, and I'll wrap the video up fairly soon, don't move that with your hand, because this is all electronic here, and that's calibrated, right? You move that with your hands while you're cleaning it. You got to clean it from the back side, right? So when you take this, split this apart, you clean it from the back side, right? I mean, I'm going to clean inside the manifolds, everything. I mean, like, there's no time limit on this vehicle to get it back together. So when it comes back together, like in 5 years, you're going to look in here and you go, wow, that's gorgeous. One thing I did like about the carbureted area is you didn't have all this stuff, right? And it was a lot cleaner. I wonder what this thing would be like carbureted. I bet you it would just be a total beast. Just a total beast. But would you gain power? Would you lose power, right? I don't know. If you had an 8-barrel, you know, 8 mini little Hollies in there, that could be cool. That could be really cool. Especially if I like analog stuff because it's easier to tinker with. But yeah, so you got to clean that butterfly from the back side. So you have to take this right apart, and you have to be careful that you don't get into the sensitive stuff over here when you're cleaning it. Yeah, is what it is. So this is probably what I think I'm going to get today, but you know, it's further than I got all winter. So the last thing I'll mention is time to do the project. setting time aside. Whether you set 2 hours a week aside or 4 hours, it's the idea is to get a little bit done each week. My big thing is I don't have money to put into this right now, so mostly it's going to be elbow grease. And I've always said this, even like as bad as it looks, you know, you put a little bit of elbow, just a little bit of spraying makes it look better, right? I mean, look at that bracket, how cruddy it was a few minutes ago. Now it's, you know, got the oil spray on it. But the point I'm making is that when you clean things and get things all running and everything like that, and you keep maintain it, what ends up happening is all the cruddiness goes away over time and it just starts working well. Now, I don't know how bad these pulleys are and stuff like that. They look worse than what they probably are. And that belt, again, you know, how bad is it? I don't know. Once I get in there, I'll know. But what's going to be cool is as I get this thing all torn apart, I'll know what I'm dealing with. I'll cost it out to see what it's going to cost to fix it and what actually needs to be fixed and what can live. Because I would, like I say, to leave the truck as original as I can and then just mainly cosmetic stuff. But anything that has to be mechanically repaired is going to get mechanically repaired. So there's going to be a long time, and I just don't know this stuff yet. It's too soon to tell what it's going to need and what I got to do. And it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, it does run. It just, you know, like I say, by the time I'm done with this truck, I'm probably going to have about 15 or 20 grand into it over the next 5 years or whatever. Maybe longer, might be 10 years. I don't know how long it's going to take me. It's a project. It's a project, right? So, but it's all there, and it's going to be a tribute truck. So, yeah, take my time with it. No rush, no worry. So, this truck is not a project.